Hi everyone, I'm Lady Teddy. I'm going to be reading to you guys from Magium, which is a text-based choose your own adventure story app game that is free, and it's on both Android and iOS, and I highly recommend it. There's a lot of different playthroughs that you can do, a lot of different paths you can take. It's very well written and very interesting. People who don't want to, who do want to know what's going on but don't want to play themselves, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch my Magium playlist. Which, there, that's where that is. Currently we are achievement hunting. We're in the middle of book 2. I actually wanted to give you guys an option because I don't know if I meant to look. I forgot to. I actually don't know if we'll be able to get any achievements in I was going to suggest either we switch, like we go to a previous save to try and get an achievement there, or just read through, because I'm not sure. Man, I should have looked at this during the break when the camera wasn't on. So can't get that one, already have that one. You know what? Here we go. What was it? Okay. Book 2, we were starting chapter 5, so we already have... We already have Divide and Conquer. Tribal Dancer, you need to choose room number 3. Can't get Tribal Dancer. We can get Public Speaker. And we can, oh yeah, we can get the last 2. Dope, never mind. We're gonna play through chapter 5. We need 2 more achievements. Yeah. We need 2 more achievements, and it looks like we will be able to get 2 more achievements in this chapter. So, yeah. Currently, what's going on is they are in a the main party is in a life and death gladiator style arena. As punishment for a crime, the person who's hosting, or the person... Words are hard. If anyone has any questions about what's going on, feel free to ask. This is just a brief overview. I know that the book 2 chapter 5 people are going to be confused about what exactly is going on. Main party was accused of a crime that they didn't do, but they were there. And then the king said, okay, you guys can go into the gladiator arena. If they win, if they survive, that means that the gods have decided that they are innocent of the crime and they're free to go. The person who's mad is given the ability to like try and make sure that they die during this arena. The owner of the arena really just wants an exciting show, so he's on board with making it super, super dangerous. They succeeded in the first round when they were supposed to be fighting against monsters. Now they are waiting around for... they're going to be up next for the second round, where they're going to be fighting against the Troll Captain. Troll Captain has extremely high regeneration abilities. They've already faced him earlier when they were sabotaging the arena before the arena started. And he also wants them dead. The achievements that we are going to be going for: we can't get Tribal Dancer when we already have Divide and Conquer. So Public Speaker, hold a speech in front of the arena crowds after one of your victories, and United We Stand. Get Wilhelm and the gladiator that you fight against in the third round to join your team in the bonus round. So we can get these two. These are the ones we're going to be going for. The way that this works is, I know a lot of people, they like just either relaxing or going to sleep, and that is totally okay. Whenever we get to a choice like this, I'm going to read them out loud and allow, if it's just directional or if the choice doesn't really matter, I read out the options and then I allow you guys to help me make the decision. If no one says anything, I will make the decision for us after about a minute. If people are wanting to participate, I will go with whatever the majority of the chat says. Alright. Stillwater, Bruce shouts. Hey, Stillwater! Are you listening? I suddenly realized that I've been so lost in my own thoughts for the past minute that I've been completely neglecting my surroundings. Wilhelm seems to have already returned to our room while I was spacing out, and judging by Bruce's tone of voice, I can only assume that he asked me a question, but I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, I tell him. Could you repeat that? I was talking about Wilhelm, Bruce says. You saw that orange hilted dagger that he was using last round? There's no doubt that he's an assassin at this point. It's too dangerous to let him roam free throughout the arena. Who knows when he'll try to kill one of us? I say we tie him up and leave him here. It's safer that way. Wilhelm is not a threat. Let him do what he wants. It won't make any difference. We don't have any rope. We could just let him keep his distance from us. Let's fight. Let him fight with us. We need all the help we can get against that troll. Oh, also earlier, this has stats. We have really high hearing, so, we overheard Wilhelm telling the Earl of Allendor, who wants us dead, that he was not going to try and kill us again because we already know that he's trying to kill our character. So he is not a threat. Yeah, if someone would like to help me make a decision, now is your chance. Otherwise, I will make a decision for us in about a minute. I'm gonna go grab my jacket from over there. Okay, I'm back. Raynor, hello, welcome in. LeShuga. I have this new AI that will write a shout out for people, and it's in Dr. Seuss inspired poet theme. Raynor IRL's realm, the games that they stream are quite the dream. From Daggerfall's quest to Hump Day's behest to... From Daggerfall's quest on Hump Day's behest to Doom's spooky zest, they play with chill and fun unfurled. With puns prohibited but pants just hinted, they dive into worlds of old and new. Each broadcast a tale where epic gamers prevail and first playthroughs are what they do. So join their questing spree, oh the places you'll go with glee. Isn't that awesome? So well done. So fast. Sin, is the fire too loud? I started doing that because people said that it was relaxing, but if it's too loud I can turn it down. Okay, cool. And you said 3. Let him fight with us. We'll need all the help we can get against that troll. Oh, I think they're cool, so I want to read them whenever they play. If you're worried about me backstabbing you, Wilhelm says, then I'll make sure to always be in your line of sight during the battle, so you can keep your eyes on me without much effort. Would that be enough to put your worries at rest? Wally West, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. I suppose, Bruce says, as long as I can easily see where you are at all times, you're not much of a threat. Very well, Wilhelm says. Fighting on the front lines is not exactly ideal for me. But I'd rather do this than be forced to fight alone. I only hope that you won't take advantage of this situation to use me as a decoy. Happy early Thanksgiving, Wally West. Happy Thanksgiving for you, I guess. Do you have any plans for today? Or did you have any plans? Damn it! Now I've lost my train of thought. What was I thinking before I got interrupted? I'm sure it had something to do with the troll. As I take another look towards the fighting area and see the troll still waving at the crowds, my previous thoughts suddenly come back to me. Hey, Layla, I say, is it just me, or is the troll wearing different armor this time around? Yes, Layla writes. It's still anti-magic armor, but now he also has shoulder pads. He probably switched armors in order to make it harder for us to cut his head off again. Correct me if I'm wrong, I say, but isn't this specific model of armor he's wearing vulnerable to regular fire? The armor he is wearing does not protect him against regular fire at all, Layla writes, only against magical fire. That's what I thought, I said, and then I head towards the door leading to the corridors outside our room. As I prepare to open the door, I turn towards Layla to give her one final message before I go. Layla, could you do me a favor? I tell her. I need you to take one of the torches that are lighting the halls and to bring it with you in the arena when the round begins. Make sure you don't let the troll see it when you approach him. When we're both in the fighting area, I'll give you a signal and then you can throw the torch at him. Got it? Yes, but where are you going? Layla writes. What are you planning to do? You'll find out soon enough, I say, and then I walk out the door. Perks of being a first responder. Well, I appreciate your sacrifice. Hopefully you're still able to get some family time in this weekend. I make sure that the guards are nowhere in sight, and I start heading directly towards Hadrick's division area. If memory serves, his room should be very close to ours. Hearing check successful level 2. As soon as I exit my room, I start hearing two guards talking to each other very far down the corridor. Did you hear that they're bringing in ogres this round? One of the guards says. You mean the ones that Velgos captured? The other guard says. Yeah. I hear that the troll is holding members of their tribe hostage, and that he's threatening to kill them unless they fight by his side. One of the tribe members is a female shaman. You don't see many of those these days. Wait, did you say female shaman? So that's why she had those strange garments and markings on her face. What do you mean? You saw her? Yeah, one of the cells I'm guarding has a few ogres in it. It's the one closest to the locker rooms. I'm guessing Velgos must have asked the owner to move them here temporarily so he can easily kill one or two of them in case the warriors misbehave. Ha! Those dumb ogres don't even know that their tribe members are right under their noses. Serves them right. If they were stupid enough to get captured, then they deserve to live their lives as the troll's henchmen. I'm sure they'll both provide us with good entertainment. The guards both laugh, and then they resume their patrols. I make my way down the hallway as fast as I can, and I try to figure out which of the doors leads to the dwarf's room. When I hear Hadrick's laughter coming from behind one of the doors, I realize that I've reached my destination, and I knock on the door 3 times, calling out to him to let him know who it is. We're sitting. The computer's plugged. It's stressing me out. My dog is right here, and she has managed to unplug my computer before. Okay, she just left. Hadrick, are you in there? I say. Yeah, give me a sec, Hadrick says, as he opens the door for me a few seconds later. Just as I was hoping, it looks like the dwarf brought more than a few bottles of ale with him to keep him company. He likely tried to convince his teammates to drink with him before the battle, but it doesn't look like he's had much luck. Congratulations on winning your first round, Barry, Hadrick says. Did you come to make a toast before your next battle? Not exactly, I say, but I did come here to ask you for one of your dwarven ale bottles, if it's not too much trouble. Not at all, Hadrick says. I originally brought these bottles here to give them to my teammates, but nobody here seems to appreciate the joys of sharing a drink before battle like I do. Take whichever bottle you like. I've got plenty. Perfect, I tell him as I pick one of the dwarven ale bottles from the ground. Now all I need is a way to reach the fighting area before the beginning of the round. I then start looking around to see if there are any hidden mechanisms that might allow me to open the iron gate by myself. You want to enter the arena before the battle? Hadrick asks me, confused. Yeah, I tell him. You know a way out? Well, no, but there's always the good old-fashioned way, Hadrick says as he gets closer to the iron gate. Step aside. He then punches the gate very hard, blowing it out of its hinges and sending it flying towards the arena. The way is clear, Hadrick says. Nice, I say. Thanks a lot. I then head towards the fighting area through the hole in the wall, and I wave towards Hadrick as I leave. See you around, I tell him. See you, I guess, Hadrick says. As I slowly make my way towards the troll with the bottle of ale in my hand, the announcer starts shouting at me from his elevated platform. What do you think you're doing? He says. The round hasn't begun yet. Get back to your division area right now. Do you hear me? Get back! Hey, are you listening to me? I ignore the announcer, and I look directly at the troll while walking casually towards him. When he sees me, Velgos stops waving at the crowd, and he begins to grin maliciously at me. Did you come here to beg for your life, human? The troll shouts at me. It will do you no good. Your fate has already been sealed. I don't say anything, and I keep walking forward. Damn it, the announcer says. Open the gates. Open them now. Audiobook streams are new to you, but very relaxing. I'm glad. That's why I decided to start doing this. People said that they were falling asleep to my streams anyways because of my voice, so I was like, may as well lean into it. And I really like this story, so it's cool to share it with someone. I hear a horn signaling the beginning of the second round, and the gate to my division starts to slowly get raised. As I keep walking, I make sure that I advance slowly enough to give Layla the time to catch up to me. The troll is still taunting me. He must be thinking that I came here to offer him a drink. I don't think that he's ever had the privilege of tasting Dwarven ale before. Judging by the burning sensation that I got in my throat when I drank my first bottle with Hadrick, I'd wager that this is the strongest alcoholic beverage that money can buy. Maybe Velgos would be a little more worried if he knew what I had in this bottle. Are you trying to bribe me, human? Velgos says with a laugh. It's going to take more than a bottle of ale to convince me to spare your life. How about you start by kneeling before me? I want every spectator in the crowd to see how pathetic you are before I kill you. I stop right in front of the troll, and I smile at him while raising my bottle. Layla is now only a few dozen feet behind me, and she's closing in with the other members of my division not far behind her. She is holding the torch behind her back, making sure that the troll doesn't notice it. Cheers, I say to the troll while I have my bottle raised in the air. What are you trying to? The Velgo starts to say, but I don't let him finish his sentence. I quickly grab the bottle by its neck, and I smash it into the troll's skull, covering him in Dwarven ale from head to toe. The troll seems shocked, unable to understand what is going on. Layla, now! I shout as I jump back from the troll. As soon as I give the signal, Layla throws her torch at the troll, igniting the flammable liquid and causing the troll to light up in flames. Velgos starts screaming loudly as he attempts to extinguish the fire from his head with his bare hands. Layla makes full use of this opportunity, and she quickly dashes towards her enemy, slicing one of his shoulder pads right off his armor with one of her enchanted daggers. The troll grabs both of his scimitars with his hands, and he tries to cut Layla in half, but she jumps back in time, avoiding his strike. I am going to destroy you, the troll shouts at us. I will cut you into pieces so small they won't even find enough of you to give you a proper burial. His eyes are red with rage as the fire covering him is slowly dying out. The marks left from the burning flames are already starting to regenerate. I suppose I should have expected that regular fire would not be enough against an enemy with such high regenerative powers. What's next, then? If I don't quickly decide what I'm going to do now, the troll won't give me any more time to react. Should I go on the offensive, or should I retreat, giving the others time to join me? Cut the troll's head off, try to act as a decoy so Layla can cut the troll's head off, go for a tactical retreat. And I will save here so that we can make multiple decisions. Right now we have not max speed, but max strength. We have 2 available points, so we can also change our stats if we try something and it doesn't work. Alright. I'm gonna give y'all a minute. 11:11 here, guys. Make a wish. Okay, 2. Layla is probably going to have a better chance at cutting the troll. Speed check failed, level 3. Reflexes failed, level 3. Layla is probably going to have a better chance at cutting the troll's head than I will. I just need to make sure that she can sneak up on him. I rush towards Velgos with my enchanted knife at the ready, pretending that I want to stab him in the chest. I get just close enough to him to make sure, in order to make him attack me, and then I try to dash back, but I'm not fast enough, and the troll catches me on the wrong footing. I don't get the chance to dodge his strike, and one of his scimitars beheads me on the spot. Alright. So, 1 or 3 then. Okay. Speed check failed, level 3. Combat technique check failed, level 2. I decide to take advantage of the opportunity Layla gave me by making a dash towards the troll and attempting to cut his head off from the side where his shoulder pad had been shattered. Vilgos sees me coming and he slashes one of his scimitars towards me, but I manage to dodge it, and I go straight for his neck. Unfortunately, the troll's first strike was never meant to hit its target, and only to lead me into the path of his second scimitar. I never got the chance to dodge his second blow, which severed my head from my shoulders and killed me on the spot. So, we actually have 2... Excuse me. We actually, have 2 available points if we want to get... Oh, and we only need... We have 1 in combat technique. Do you want to try and do this one, see what happens? Thank you. So either 3 or we do combat technique and see what happens with 1. What's the passive for combat technique? Wait, what do you mean? I'm assuming that's a D&D question, like what his passive combat is or something. Do you want to try and do this one? Alright, let's try it again. So speed check failed, level 3, combat technique check successful, level 2, strength check successful, level 2. I decide to take advantage of the opportunity Layla gave me by making a dash towards the troll and pretending that I'm trying to drive my blade through his chest. As the troll tries to attack me, I quickly step to the side and I swing my arm towards his neck from the side where his shoulder pad had been shattered, cutting his head off in a single movement. I quickly grab his severed head by the hair, and I throw it away as far as I can. The troll's body jumps back, looking very disoriented. This is our chance, I tell Layla. Let's hit him with all we've got before... I interrupt myself because the troll's head is now slowly being recreated, starting from Velgo's neck. It only takes about 5 seconds before the head gets regenerated completely, although, judging by the expression on his face, this must have been a particularly painful process. I'm going to take my time killing you, Velgo says, looking as if he's trying to hold back some of the pain. I'll do it slowly after I force you all to watch... I'll do it slowly after I force you to watch all your friends die. Yeah, I say. I've heard it all before. Watch out! Bruce shouts at us from behind. Not long after his warning, 2 very large orcs make their way out of the gate behind Velgos, and they attempt to hit us with their oversized clubs. Both me and Layla jump back, and we join our teammates who have now all arrived at our location. I knew it, our mage teammate says. I knew that they wouldn't make it as easy as us fighting a single troll. They just had to bring in the ogres too. Stop complaining, Bruce says. Ogres are easy to beat. They're dumb, and they're slow as snails. I can take them both on myself. Ancient languages check successful level 1. Actually, I'd rather be the one to take them on, if you don't mind, I tell Bruce. I'm not completely sure, but I think I might be able to bring them over to our side, if I have a little chat with them. That sounds like a stupid idea, Bruce says. But who am I to judge? You can take the ogres if you want. The troll is enough for me. The ogres do not leave us the chance to continue our conversation as they start running towards us, roaring at the top of their lungs while swinging their clubs. As we've agreed, the others step in and begin heading towards the troll, leaving me to fight the ogres all by myself. Hey you, I tell the ogres, we need to talk. The 2 ogres ignore me and they try to hit me with the clubs. Luckily, even though their strength is formidable, dodging against their sluggish attacks is child play in an open environment such as this. It's about your captured tribe members, I tell them. Still no reaction. Is it because they can't understand common? I know where they're holding your tribe members captive, I say in the ogre tongue. The ogres react to my words for the first time, and they both stop attacking me while looking at me suspiciously. How would you know about our captured tribe members? One of the ogres says. Don't listen to him, he's trying to trick us, says the second ogre. The second ogre says. Am I? I say. What if I were to tell you I know that one of the captives... I also know that one of the captives is your tribe's shaman, and who happens to be a female? He knows about our shaman, the first ogre says. He must be telling the truth. Even if he is, it's not worth it, the second ogre says. The troll will kill us all if we try to help this human in any way. Not if we kill him first, I say. You are insane, the second ogre says. The troll is immortal. Even if you kill him, he'll still come back to life. There's no way to beat him. So you'd prefer to live the rest of your lives as his lackeys, then, I say. Brother, the first ogre says, we've been at the troll's mercy for too long. We'll never get a better chance than this to avenge our fallen warriors and to rescue the captives. The second ogre looks at his comrade in arms for a few long seconds, considering his words carefully. What would you ask of us if we agreed to help you? The second ogre says. Just help me out in killing the troll, I say. After that, I'll tell you where they're holding your friends, and you'll be free to go. Don't worry, they're not being held far from here. You'll have plenty of time to free them and get out of the city before they assemble the city guards. I will hold you to that promise, human, the second ogre says after thinking about my offer for a few more seconds. You'd better not be lying to us. I wouldn't dream of it, I say. The two ogres exchange one final look, and then they turn their back on me, preparing to go fight their former ally. While I was talking to the ogres, I saw Layla and Bruce working together, and managing to decapitate the troll for a second time. Layla crushed Velgos's head under her sandal, but the head did not regenerate on the ground. Instead, the troll regrew his head again from his neck, though this time around it seemed to take longer to fully create it, and it looked like he was having a bit of trouble recreating the exact same facial features that he had before. As I prepare to join my friends in battle, I take one long look at Velgos, and I try to make a plan of attack. Observe the battle between Layla and Velgos in order to find his weaknesses, lie to the mage in order to try and convince him to act as a decoy, cut the troll's head off while he's busy fighting Layla. And I'll save here again. We can make multiple attempts again. I'm gonna give it about a minute. Was probably about mine. Okay. One it is. Good gods, the mage says, exasperated as he watches Layla fight. Stop aiming for the head! Can't you see that it's doing you no good? On the contrary, I tell him. I think that cutting his head off is exactly what we should be doing. You could clearly see that the troll was struggling to regenerate his head when it got cut off the second time. Even with his insane regenerative ability, there still has to be some kind of limit to how many times he can regrow his head in such a short period of time. My guess is that 1 or 2 more beheadings should do the trick. The ogres are now rushing towards the troll, with their clubs at the ready, preparing to strike. As he sees his former companions turning on him, Velgos's eyes fill with rage. I maintain my position, trying to study the troll carefully as he is fighting. I don't get to do that for long, however, because Layla immediately takes advantage of the troll's short distraction, and she manages to cut his head off yet again. After his head gets crushed once more, the troll begins to regrow a new one from his neck. But this time, something is definitely off. The grotesque form that is emerging from his neck can no longer be called anything close to a head. The face is missing half of its skin, the eyes are coming out of their orbits, and the shape of it is nothing like before. More importantly, it would seem that his head has not been well enough regenerated to allow him to breathe. The troll is now desperately trying to gasp for air, while looking at me and Layla with pure hatred in his eyes. He tries to speak, but he has no air left in his lungs. He only manages to make some unintelligible guttural sounds while taking a few steps forward and stretching one of his arms towards us in a futile attempt to reach us. Once he runs out of breath completely, he drops to his knees and he starts clawing at his throat with his hands as if he were trying to create a new pathway for the air to reach his lungs. Eventually, he stops moving altogether and he drops face first to the ground, lifeless. Well, that was anticlimactic, I say. "Hey, Velgos," the announcer says. "What are you doing? Stop fooling around and fight seriously. What do you think we're paying you for?" The spectators seem to be unsure of how to react. Velgos appeared to be something of a crowd favorite, so seeing him die in front of their eyes must be giving them mixed feelings about this whole thing. They can't really blame us for having killed him, but they don't seem very eager to cheer for us either. What we get instead are a few moments of awkward silence while the announcer is still struggling to come to terms with reality. "Velgos," the announcer says, this time in a pleading voice, "don't do this to me. Come on, I even bet good money on you. You can't die on me like this. What about the rest of the second round? Who's going to fight the other divisions? Velgos, get up, damn you." Once the announcer finishes his rant, we hear Vinard, the arena owner, clearing his throat from somewhere behind the announcer. Please excuse me," the announcer says to the spectators. "I'll be back shortly." He then heads in the direction of the arena owner, descending from his elevated platform and entering one of the upper levels of the main building surrounding the fighting area. As the announcer was talking, I was barely paying any attention to him because I was focusing on something else entirely. After studying the scimitars that had fallen from the troll's hands for a while, I suddenly came to the conclusion that they were both in surprisingly good condition. I'm also quite certain that they both have at least the sharpness and the durability enchantments cast on them, so they should be pretty comparable to my dagger in terms of usefulness. I've never really liked wielding two weapons at the same time when fighting, but maybe I could take one of these with me so that I can use it when I'm in need of a weapon with longer reach. Or maybe I should take the other one too and sell it at a shop. I'm not exactly sure how much it would be worth, but if I could get Darren to identify all of the enchantments cast on it, I'm pretty sure I could negotiate a reasonable price at the local weapon shops. Leave the weapons there, take one scimitar, take both scimitars. I think scimitars are a type of curved sword. Y'all have about a minute. Okay, take both scimitars. I decide to take both of the scimitars because it would be a waste to just leave them there. I put both of the weapons in their sheaths, and then I hook the 2 sheaths to my belt.
Human,
one of the ogres says in their language.
We have fulfilled our end of the bargain. We are still waiting for you to fulfill yours.
Oh, right. The hostages, I say. They are keeping them locked right here in the main building of the Colosseum. The guard said that they're being held in the cell that is closest to the locker rooms. You shouldn't have any trouble finding those. Just go through the gate over there and take a left.
I hope you are not lying to us,
the ogre says.
Let him be, the other ogre says. He already fulfilled his promise. We have no reason to doubt him. Let's go, quick, before they send the guards for us.
You promise? The two ogres move away from us, and they start heading towards the arena gate in order to free their captive clan members. Wait, what just happened there? Bruce asks, confused. What were you talking to them about? And why were you letting them go? Why not? I say. The round objective was to kill the troll. They never said anything about the ogres. But why did they help us? Bruce asks. They were being forced to cooperate with the troll, I say, because he was holding some of their clan members hostage. I told them where their friends were being kept in exchange for them helping us with the troll. You mean to say that you just allowed them to leave so that they can get reinforcements? Bruce says, shocked. Reinforcements for what? I say. Listen, ogres may be dumb, but they're not that stupid. I guarantee you that the first thing they'll do after they free their allies will be flee the city as soon as possible. They're sure as hell not going to stick around and wait for the town guards to assemble. So maybe they'll kill some of the arena's staff on their way out. Not my problem. They should have thought of the risks of bringing a bunch of ogres into the middle of a city populated by humans. Fine, Bruce says. Forget the ogres. So, what are we doing now? Is the round over or what? We're waiting for the announcer to come back, I say. He's the one that's supposed to announce the end of the fight. After a bit more, the announcer finally returns to his platform looking mildly upset. Sorry for the delay, ladies and gentlemen, the announcer says. After a discussion with the arena's owner, Mr. Vinard, we have announced the conclusion of the second round. We have reached the conclusion that the second round cannot continue after the death of Velgos the mercenary. In other words, the end of this fight also marks the end of the round. The third and final round will commence shortly, as soon as the organizing team is done with the preparations. We apologize for the inconvenience. He then turns towards us. All gladiators will have to wait in their division areas until the beginning of the next round, he says. You will not be allowed to roam the halls any longer. Your rooms will be locked until the end of the third round. This time, there will be no more incidents. I'm pretty sure that he was looking directly at me when he said those last words. He must still be upset because I entered the fighting area before the beginning of the round last time. Oh well. At least I don't need any more information from my notebook. Being unable to exit my division area shouldn't affect me that much. As soon as we get back to our room, we hear a person shouting loudly from the hallway outside our door. It is the voice of the ambassador of Allendor. What do you mean that everything is going smoothly? The ambassador shouts. Are you mocking me? Not at all, ambassador, Bernard, the arena owner says. There have been no problems with any part of our arena event, as far as I am aware. Lordos, hello, welcome in. happy Thanksgiving. Well, actually, happy early Thanksgiving. It'll be Thanksgiving in 24 minutes. No problems, the ambassador says. The Earl of Allendor's killers are still alive, and you were telling me that there are no problems? I assure you, Venard says, that our guests have been given no advantages over the other gladiators of the arena during these fights. Quite the opposite. In fact, of course, if you have any doubts, you are free to talk with the organizing team in order to arrange the upcoming duels in any way you like. After all, you have always been the one to have the final say regarding the organization of these events. Turkey Day in 24 minutes. Jock the Major, hello, welcome in. Well, happy Thanksgiving, Lordos. In the realm of Jock the Major, fun's never tardy. With games aplenty under the sun, they march like party. From Diablo's depths to Black Ops past, with zombies they clash, with From Diablo's depths to Black Ops past, with zombies they clash. Siege and Overwatch, with pals in tow they dash. Far light frolics beat Fortnite spash. Post-surgery chill, they're back with a splash. So join this marine stream, it's a community smash. Hashtag fun times, hashtag gaming glee, hashtag community mash. Today is my first day with it, but I have an AI bot that creates shoutouts, custom shoutouts, based off of the information from their page, and I have it set to Dr. Seuss inspired poet. There's a lot of different settings, but I thought that one sounded the silliest. Lordos, you got everything ready? You have been busy all night preparing? Nice! I hope it goes well. All you need is mac and cheese and the turkey and smoking the ham. Wow, that's a lot of work. Lordos, you are not able to shout yourself out, but I can shout you out if you'd like, because I think it's kind of silly. You were looking at the book, like, where is the... Yeah, no, this is from the chat. If someone who's not authorized tries to do a shout out, it will just shout out the last person that was shouted out. It also comes up with custom raid messages. Oh, you've streamed before. I thought you said you didn't have what it takes to stream. In the land of streams, both far and wide, Lordos plays with a casual stride. Neither famous nor unknown they aim to be, but in Battlefield 5 they're quite the sight to see. With arms open for gamers small and large, they lead a Zerg with a heart supercharged. Above average? Oh, that's their claim. In the world of play, it's more than just a name. I shouted out my friend who doesn't stream just as an experiment. I'm gonna shout out for Pink Lizard. But there's no information. Sorry to the people who are watching this on YouTube. Wait. In the land of streams both big and small, Pink Lizard's tale is quite the sprawl. No tags or titles to be found, not even a sound, but don't you frown or wear a crown of down. For in this space where content's face is unseen, imagine the magic, the unseen scenes. A mystery wrapped in digital mist, join the adventure you can't resist. Wild. At some point we can, if I end up keeping this, I can mess around. Oops. Okay, back to this. I know, isn't it? Super cool. The person I rated on Monday had it and showed it to me. I've been a fool to leave things in your care until now, the ambassador says furiously. If you are too incompetent to get the job done right, then I'll just have to do it myself. We then hear the ambassador storming away from the hall, presumably towards the room where the organizing team is making the preparations for the next round. Farewell, Ambassador, Vinard says calmly, and then we hear him leaving as well. It sounds like a certain someone really has it in for you, Layla writes, while looking at me. Who cares, I say. It's not like they can do anything anymore, even if they try. You copied your description and you're gonna save it? Oh. You should, yeah. I don't want to interrupt the recording for the amount of time it would take to do a henna tattoo, so I'm going to refund that to you. Sorry. Or I could probably do it like right at the end of my stream if you'd like, but it would be at the end of the stream, which will be later. Alright, I won't refund it quite yet then. I remember you saying something similar before our battle with the troll, Layla writes. Yeah, but now it's different, I say. The troll is dead, so are the creatures. I don't see what other tricks they could pull out of their sleeve this late in the game. Really? Layla writes. You don't see any way in which the organizers could guarantee your death in the next round? Not a one, I tell her. All right then, Layla writes simply. I am now going to announce the names of the gladiators that will fight in the first duel, the announcer says. This will be a fight to the death. The gladiators will need to battle until only one of them is left alive. No surrendering is allowed. Get ready, Layla writes to me. Ready for what? I ask her. The names of the gladiators are, the announcer says as he gets ready to read the first line on the parchment. Barry and Darren, the announcer continues. Oh, I tell Layla. Jock, it's actually super easy to set up. You go to the link and then you allow you give the bot permission, and then that's it pretty much. You just select what you want to activate. I mean, I can, but it would probably be faster if you just set it up yourself, because it's very straightforward. Oh, I tell Layla. The iron gate in front of me gets raised, and so does the one from Darren's division. Will the two gladiators who just had their names called please enter the fighting area? The announcer says in a bored voice. Thank you. Oh, I tell Layla again, not knowing what else to say at this point. Good luck, Layla writes with a serious look on her face as I slowly step out of my division area and into the arena. Okay, calm down. There's no need to panic. I've gotten through every obstacle in my path so far. There's no reason why this shouldn't be any different. So there's no need to panic. Okay? No reason. Just need to calm down. No panic. No panic. While I'm busy thinking to myself, Darren is also slowly advancing towards me, only he seems to be unusually calm about all of this. Why is that? Is it because he knows he can beat me? No, that can't be the reason. Could it be that he's already managed to figure a way out of this mess? What is he planning to do exactly? Damn it! I'm sure that I could come up with a plan too, if only I could manage to calm down. Once Darren and I both get to the center of the arena, facing each other, Darren gives me a wide grin and he drops his sword and shield onto the ground, and then he throws his hands in the air. I surrender! Darren shouts as loud as he can. I cannot fight this man! How could I? The fight is to the death, healer, the announcer says, even if this man is your friend. I mean, look at those muscles, Darren shouts loudly, interrupting the announcer. No sane man would ever dare fight such a beast. Suddenly, all of the spectators in the crowd burst into laughter. These are two members of the main party that's been traveling throughout the books. Those arms look like they could smash my head like a watermelon between his bare hands. Darren continues with a mocking grin on his face. And look at the size of his back. May the gods have mercy on my soul. Laugh it up, Darren. Still, I have to give credit where credit is due. The idea to surrender was genius. Genius, and yet so obvious. How did I not think of this? While the crowds are still laughing, the ambassador of Allendor is making his way into the fighting area through one of the iron gates, and he is heading towards us. What is the meaning of this? The ambassador shouts, and the crowds slowly fall silent. Why aren't you fighting? This is a fight to the death. You can't just surrender. Well, what are you going to do about it? Darren tells him with a smirk when he reaches us. The ambassador's face turns red with rage, and then he looks towards me. You there, he says. Peasant! Your opponent is disarmed. Finish him off now, or face the consequences. Who are you calling a peasant? Peasant. Are you okay? Your face is all red. Maybe we should call a doctor. Finish off Darren. Y'all have about... So that's what an angry teddy looks like. I don't know if that's what I look like, considering I was trying not to laugh that entire scene. But, you know, maybe my acting skills are better than I thought. Y'all have about a minute to make a decision if you would like. You like the campfire background? I'm glad. That is sort of the goal. I'm glad that it's having the intended effect. Alright, so 2 it is. Are you okay? Your face is all red. Maybe we should call a doctor. As I speak, I use a loud enough tone of voice to make sure the spectators can hear me. I don't need a doctor, the ambassador shouts. I need you to kill this man now. This very instant. Which instant? Instant? I ask him. This instant, the ambassador shouts. You mean this instant right now, or the one from when you were just talking? I ask him, because if you need me to kill him in the past, I may have to learn some time magic first. The spectators cannot contain themselves any longer, and they all start laughing in unison. Are you mocking me? The ambassador shouts. Of course he's mocking you, Darren says. I mean, seriously, what did you expect? Did you really think that you could just come in here and convince us to kill each other if you yelled at us a little? If you don't kill each other, then I'll have you both executed, the ambassador shouts. No, you won't, Darren says loudly so that everyone can hear him. There is no standard arena rule that says we need to kill each other. We only broke one of this event's rules. That means you can't execute us. You can only make us into undesirables and force us to participate in the penalty round. Those are the rules. I don't care about the rules, the ambassador shouts. I make the rules. You will do as I say, or you are both going to die. There's a loud murmur coming from the spectator seats after the ambassador's last outburst. The ambassador does not notice, and he continues his rant. Did you seriously think that those rules ever had any importance? Did I misread something? Murmuring? The ambassador shouts even louder than before. This whole arena's only purpose was to have you killed. You were never meant to walk out of here alive. Do you hear me? This whole arena was nothing but a farce. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you have any chance of survival just because you've won 2 measly rounds. I am the ambassador of Allendor. If I wanted, I could have you both executed right now in front of all of these people and nobody would bat an eye. That is how much power I have. Now hurry up and kill each other like the dogs you are, or I will have your heads placed on spikes along with all of your friends. While the ambassador was talking, the murmurs from the crowd turned slowly into booing that only intensified the more the ambassador spoke. By the time he finished his monologue, most of the spectators had picked up the booing, and they were getting louder by the second. Off with the ambassador's head! Shouts one of the spectators, loudly enough for everyone to hear him. The phrase seemed to have perfectly resonated with what everyone was thinking at that moment, because the spectators in the crowd gradually picked it up and made a shorter version of it in order to be able to chant it in unison repeatedly. Off with his head! Off with his head! Off with his head! The crowds keep chanting, as the ambassador's arrogant look on his face slowly gets replaced with a much darker and more fearful expression, while a trickle of sweat begins to run down his forehead. How does it feel, Ambassador? We suddenly hear Eden's voice coming from somewhere behind the ambassador, although the Stillwater himself is still nowhere to be seen. Damn it, not again, Darren says as soon as he hears Eden's voice. Is that Eden? The ambassador says as he looks around trying to identify the source of the sound. How does it feel to have so many people threatening to end your life at the same time? Eden says, Take a good look at these people, Ambassador. Do you think that they would care about your high rank if you met them now on the street? Do you think that they would hesitate to kill you, even for a moment, if they were given the chance to do so? He pauses. Those are the people that you've shunned all your life, Ambassador. Eden continues, and you have done so due to your strict adherence to the belief that all of the people below your social rank were nothing but inferior creatures and worthy of your attention. Do you still have what it takes to stick to your beliefs now and face the direct consequences of your actions? What choice will you make, Ambassador? Your time is running out. We can almost imagine Eden's smirk, with his closed eyes as he watches the ambassador biting his nails, trying to find a solution that could help him both to calm down the crowds and to have us killed on the spot. The solution, however, never came. I've changed my mind, the ambassador says finally, loudly enough that the spectators can hear him. We will follow the rules. These two gladiators have now become undesirables. If they survive the final round, then they will be set free as promised. You may continue the rest of the round as you see fit. He then storms out of the fighting area, and as far away from the booing noises as his legs can carry him. In the meantime, Darren has picked up his sword and shield from the ground, and he is now looking towards the place where we heard Eden's voice coming from. So, how's it going, Eden? Darren says. Are you enjoying the show? The empty place that Darren is addressing gives him no answer. You know, I was thinking, Darren says, ignoring the fact that Eden never answered his question. While I was traveling, I often heard of these new types of circuses where they involve their audience directly in some parts of their shows. I was thinking that since you're such a loyal spectator, maybe we should try some of that. What do you think? Eden pauses for a bit, as if he were actually waiting for Eden to say something. Great, Darren says. Here goes. He then throws his sword with breathtaking speed right at the spot where Eden was standing invisibly a few minutes prior. The sword passes through the empty space where the still water had been standing, and it falls on the ground a few dozen feet beyond that position. Looking a bit disappointed, Darren lets out a small sigh and he goes to retrieve his sword. Not long after the departure of the ambassador, the announcer officially ends the fight between me and Darren, and he declares me as the victor of the battle due to Darren's surrender. As I am preparing to return to my division room, the announcer stops me, telling me that I was scheduled to fight to the death with a gladiator from the 6th Division right after my battle with Darren. The announcer also reminds me that, as an undesirable, I now have the right to refuse to fight until the penalty round if I so desire. So the achievement we finally caught up that we are going for. There's public speaker, hold a speech in front of the arena crowds after one of your victories, and united we stand. Get Wilhelm and the gladiator that you fight against in the 3rd round to join your team in the bonus round. So, with that in mind, I feel like there's an obvious answer here, but I'll still wait about a minute so that I can give my voice a break. And if anyone would like to try and convince me, Hark, Lady Teddy, a gaming sprite so fair, dost frolic in realms of digital delight, with Magium's tales whispered soft as night air, and tormented souls neath the pale moonlight. In Jackbox's jests they findeth much cheer, whilst Alice's madness doth take its toll. Skyrim's foul spared, no harm cometh near, forsooth, their streams art gentle to the soul. What do you have your set to? Is it Monarch or something? Shakespeare, okay. That's cool, I like it. I mentioned a lot of my categories. Alright, accept the duel. I decide to accept the duel. I'd much rather fight this gladiator now while he's alone than be forced to fight him later on the penalty round when he'll be fighting everyone at once. I notify the announcer that I've decided to stay, and an iron gate opens up, clearing the way for my adversary to enter the battlefield. As the man enters the fighting area, I recognize him as being one of the more proficient fighters from his group. Actually, I'd even go so far as to say that he is comparable in terms of combat prowess to the fighters from the First Division. His build is also quite impressive, being as tall as Darren and as bulky as Bruce. Just like most of the other gladiators, he seems to be wearing leather armor, but instead of a sword, his weapon of choice appears to be a large double-edged battle axe, which he is now holding in both hands. The beginning of the fight will likely be announced as soon as he reaches me. Now then, how do I go about this? The fight is to the death, but as an undesirable, I am no longer bound by such rules. If I want him out of the way, killing him would be easier, but technically I could also just break one of his legs or something, and it should be enough for my intents and purposes. Aim to kill him, aim to incapacitate him. Well, once again, I feel like there's an obvious answer here considering we want him to fight with us in the last round, but if someone would like to argue with me, now is your chance. Y'all have about a minute. He could kill us, though. This is true. Alright. I don't see any reason why I should kill him. I have nothing against the guy. I just want to make sure that I won't need to fight him in the final round. All I need is to incapacitate him in some way, nothing more. But how will I fight him? Do I try to disarm him first, or should I focus on hitting him where he's undefended? Would it be a better idea to wait for him to maybe but how will I fight him? Do I try to disarm him first, or should I just focus on hitting him where he's undefended? Would it be a better idea to wait for him to make mistakes, or to attack him head on and take him by surprise? I'd much rather prefer to have a plan than to solely rely on instinct. We will save here so we can make multiple attempts. Take him by surprise and disarm him. Take him by surprise and attack him directly. Wait for him to make mistakes, then disarm him. Wait for him to make mistakes, then attack him directly. I'll give it a couple seconds in case someone wants to jump in. Okay, 1. Speed check failed, level 2. As I finish planning my attack, the man reaches my position and he stops about a dozen feet away from me, measuring me up with an arrogant smile on his face. He doesn't say anything, but it's pretty obvious what he's thinking. He clearly cannot picture himself losing this fight. We both wait for the announcer to give us the signal, and once our battle officially begins, the gladiator charges at me directly with his axe raised in the air, ready to strike. It's going to be a bit hard to take him by surprise when he's trying to do the exact same thing to me at the same time, but it's a bit late to change tactics now. I charge towards the gladiator as well, and I attempt to catch him off guard with my speed so that I can quickly disarm him before he recovers. Rushing straight to the enemy's attack was not one of my better ideas. Instead of surprising him, I ended up right where he wanted me, and the gladiator swung his axe straight at me, killing me in one blow. Alright. Take him by surprise and attack him directly. Wait for him to make mistakes, then disarm him. Wait for him to make mistakes, then attack him directly. Trying to... There's a chance that we can't do this one, actually. Thought that we could. Oh wait, no, we'll be able to... We'll see. Wait for him to make mistakes, then disarm him. Yeah, I think that we need reflexes. But we can still do this, actually. If we need to... I've already screwed myself by saving where I saved, which means that I'm going to need to go back to the beginning of the stream. I could just click through and not... Like, I started with 2 extra points, so... Reflexes check failed, level 2. As I finish planning my attack, the man reaches my position and he stops about a dozen feet away from me, measuring me up with an arrogant smile on his face. He doesn't say anything, but it's pretty obvious what he's thinking. He clearly cannot picture himself losing this fight. We both wait for the announcer to give us the signal, and once our battle officially begins... The gladiator charges at me directly with his axe raised in the air, ready to strike. Yeah, we either need 2 speed or 2 reflexes. Which means I screwed myself. So we're just gonna, go through this quickly. Okay. Do we want 2 speed or 2 reflexes? Are we wanting to, it's a returning game. We can, if... So if we want to take him by surprise, we need 2 speed. If we want to wait for him to make mistakes, we need 2 reflexes. So do we want to take him by surprise, or do we want to wait for him to make mistakes? You can now pick whichever one of these you want. 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I will coordinate the points accordingly. Cut this part out, editor. I don't have an editor. One day I'm going to go through all of these recordings that are just uploaded raw to YouTube. And I'll make them a little prettier to listen to for the people that do listen to them. Sorry, everyone. I tried to go to school to learn how to edit videos. Didn't work out. I'll try again at some point. Alright, so you want me to pick 3, then? Wait for him to make mistakes, then disarm him? Reflexes, check successful level 2, strength check successful level 1. As I finish planning my attack, the man reaches my position and he stops about a dozen feet away from me, measuring me up with an arrogant smile on his face. He doesn't say anything, but it's pretty obvious what he's thinking. He clearly cannot picture himself losing this fight. We both wait for the announcer to give us the signal, and once our battle officially begins, the gladiator charges at me directly with his axe raised in the air, ready to strike. I wait for him to reach me, and I begin dodging his attacks, trying to find the right moment to disarm him. Evading the warrior's attacks is definitely not easy due to the large size of his battle axe, and there are more than a few times that I almost feel like I'm not going to make it. Fortunately, the long reach of my scimitar gives me a little bit more space to maneuver, and it allows me to parry some of the strikes that might have hit me otherwise. As soon as I catch my opponent on the wrong footing, I use my scimitar like a hook to pull his battle axe out of his hand by its head and sending it flying away and out of his reach. Once my opponent gets disarmed, I make a quick rush towards him with my weapon, and in an attempt to dodge me, he falls on his back. I then immediately put my blade to his throat, not giving him a chance to get back up. "Wait!" the gladiator screams all of a sudden. "I surrender!" "This is a fight to the death, warrior," the announcer says coldly. "Surrendering is not allowed." "Please," the gladiator says in a pleading voice, looking directly at me. "Have mercy! I don't want to die, please!" "Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!" The spectators start chanting in unison. The chants are only getting louder, while I stand there with my blade at the warrior's throat, thinking of what to do. Once again, I feel like it's fairly obvious which of kill him, but two. You changed your color. Alright, I'm still gonna give it a second in case anyone... Well, I mean, no, it's so yeah, I'm just gonna drink water and then I'll do this one. Achievement unlocked! Public speaker! We did it, guys! I ignore the crowds, and I use my blade to stab the gladiator in his right leg. This should be enough to make sure that he won't be fighting me in the final round. I then turn my back on him and start walking away. What do you think you're doing? The announcer says. I'm going back to my division room, I say. The fight is over. I won. No, the fight is not over until I say it's over, the announcer says, angrily. Now get back in there and finish the job. Nah, I say. What is your problem? The announcer says. This man isn't your friend. I bet you've never seen him before this arena event. Why are you not killing him? I refuse to kill a guy I've just met for the sole purpose of your entertainment. I say, my goal was to incapacitate him in order to not have to fight him in the final round. If you want to kill him, do it yourselves. It makes it seem like more people are here. Fair enough. I'm not going to announce your win until you kill this man, the announcer says. Then make him the winner, I say. I don't care. I'm done here. I then take my leave and the crowds begin booing me. Their shouts and insults are only getting louder as I approach my division room. Shut up! I shout at them as I finally snap. The noise from the crowd slowly dies down, and the spectators are all looking at me curiously to see what I have to say. What the hell is wrong with you? I continue. Is this what you consider entertainment? Watching people murder each other and get mauled by wild beasts? How sick in the head do you have to be to get enjoyment out of something like this? You're all pathetic. Does it make you feel good to know that some people have even worse lives than you? Is this why you're watching this crap? Well, I've got news for you. As soon as you walk out of here, it's going to be the same crappy lives waiting for you outside. And you all deserve it. The way you are treating these gladiators is the same way the nobles are treating you. You have no right to complain about anything that is going on in your lives. How about you all take a small break and do a bit of self-reflection before you start booing me again like a bunch of mindless sheep. I'm going back to my cell. I'm done with you idiots. Unsurprisingly, as soon as I finish my speech, the booing from the crowd gets louder than ever before, and the swearing is now a lot more diverse as well. I ignore the sheep, and I return to my division area without as much as a single glance towards them. Wow, Layla writes, when the iron gate closes behind me. That was quite the speech. Yeah, I say simply, as we both watch the next fights in silence. The rest of the battles went by without any particular incidents, and without any of the gladiators standing out in any way. However, there seemed to be something of a pattern forming with the scheduling of the duels. First of all, neither me nor Darren nor Hadrick were being called anymore. for any of the fights. Kate was scheduled to fight a few times, but she refused every time, taking full advantage of her undesirable status. Secondly, there have been no more fights to the death whatsoever after my last battle. Most of the battles ended with light scratches or with the gladiators surrendering before the fight even began due to obvious differences in power levels. By the time the third round ended, it was getting pretty obvious that these changes had been specifically requested by the ambassador with the purpose of keeping as many gladiators alive as possible in order to get us to fight them all in the penalty round. The winner of the third round was some guy from the 7th Division that didn't really do anything special, but had the luck of running into a lot of cowards who surrendered before their fights even began. Once the winner received his prize, the announcer called for the gladiators to assemble in the fighting area one last time so the penalty round could finally begin. "Will the undesirables form a line and face the rest of the gladiators?" the announcer says. Darren, Kate, and I head towards the center of the arena, and we stand side by side preparing our weapons. "Now, who is ready to participate in the final?" the announcer starts to say, but he stops when he sees Hadrick, Layla, and Bruce all move at the same time in order to join our side. "What are you doing?" the announcer says. "You are on the wrong side. Neither of you are undesirables." "Yet," Bruce says. "You are saying," the announcer says, "that you are voluntarily turning yourselves into undesirables after the event has already ended, just to stand by these gladiator sides? The true members of the 4th Division shall stand united till the very last blow of the horn," Bruce says. Wilhelm frowns at Bruce, who is looking straight at him when he said those words. After a few seconds of silence, the assassin moves from his spot and then joins our side as well. "And what about you, Dwarf?" the announcer asks Hadrick. "Well, you know me," Hadrick says. "I always like a good challenge." "Achievement unlocked. United we stand, guys, we did it." "Very well," the announcer says. "Well, while we're at it, is there anyone else who would like to join the undesirable side?" "I will," the gladiator says, the gladiator I defeated in the third round. "I do not intend to leave this arena before settling my debt from the third round." "Well, okay then," the announcer says, starting to get a bit annoyed. "Anyone else?" The gladiators fall silent, and it seems that nobody else is planning to join us anymore. "Finally," the announcer says, then it's about time that we get this round started, don't you think? Volunteers, please step forward so that you may join this optional round." Once the gladiators begin to move forward, one of the gladiators begins to move forward, but another one pulls him back from behind. "Do you have a death wish?" the gladiator from behind says. "Don't you see who you're up against? The dwarf pulverized half the manticores and the scorpions all by himself, and that healer in armor pretty much fought all the monsters by himself too, and he doesn't even have a scratch. You'd have to be insane to want to fight them." Hearing the gladiator's speech, the few other warriors who are planning to join in the final round are now starting to have second thoughts. "Really?" the announcer asks, shocked, as he sees that none of the gladiators are volunteering to fight. "No one? Do you people realize what you can gain if you kill either one of those warriors in front of you? You can be freed, just like that, or get showered with riches." "Better to be poor than dead," one of the gladiators says, while many of the others nod in agreement. "What do you think you're doing?" the ambassador shouts furiously as he comes running into the fighting area once more. Why aren't you fighting them? There are dozens of you! Dozens! Numbers don't mean anything when you're up against enemies of that caliber, one of the gladiators says. What caliber? The ambassador shouts furiously. They're just a bunch of peasants. Do you think that fighting them is not worth the risk? Then I'll make it worth it. I can give you money beyond your wildest dreams. You will never have to work another day in your life. If you join this fight, I will free you all and give you a high enough status that you will never risk having to fight in a place like this ever again. Just tell me what you want and I will provide it for you. All you have to do is fight. Fight, damn you! The gladiators are all looking at each other with an uneasy look in their eyes. It doesn't seem like any of them are seriously considering accepting the ambassador's offer. What is wrong with you? The ambassador shouts, with his face red from anger. Do you have no ambitions, no goals? What is it going to take to make you fight them? What is it going to take? Tell me, you miserable excuses for human beings. What do you want? Tell me! Tell! The ambassador's last words get drowned out by a few very loud horns that seem to be blowing in unison from different directions, from different sides of the city. The crowds are all starting to panic. It seems that they all know something we don't. Whatever it is that those horns were supposed to signify, I'm definitely not liking the sound of this. Oh no, the announcer says, trying to keep calm. Will the spectators please evacuate the arena? In a calm and orderly fashion, the show is cancelled. I repeat, the show is cancelled. The spectators are now rushing in droves towards the exits of the Colosseum, and while they are not looking very calm and orderly to me, they are at least not knocking each other down, so they still have some sense of self-control left in them, despite their panic. Now that he's done with the spectators, the announcer turns towards us. Gladiators, he says, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to ask you to temporarily join the forces from our army until our current crisis gets averted. According to the laws of Thilius, during a citywide state of emergency, gladiators are to be used as resources of the kingdom until the state of emergency is officially declared to be over. Like, hell we will. That wasn't part of the deal. What is the emergency? What about the penalty round? Do we still have to do that too? At this point, it doesn't matter because we're just finishing the chapter. Y'all have about a minute. Actually, just making sure. Third book is now available in its entirety. Yay! Alright, 2. What is the emergency? The emergency is that we're being attacked, the announcer says. Don't you even know that much? How did they even let you into the... The announcer interrupts himself because a very powerful wind comes blowing towards us because a very powerful wind comes blowing towards us all, feeling as if it could lift us in the air any second if we weren't on our guards. This wind. I've only witnessed something like this once before. Oh gods, please don't let this be.
Oh, Flasathi!
I hear a familiar voice calling me from above.
I've been looking for you.
As I hesitantly turn my head upwards, I see Tyrath, the king of all dragons, flapping his wings high above in the sky while looking directly at me with a menacing stare.
Gods have mercy, Bruce says.
The announcer screams and he falls on his back as soon as he sees the dragon. The spectators look terrified. They are now screaming and pushing each other like madmen. At this rate, it won't take long until some of them get pushed to the ground and get trampled by the stampeding crowd. The ambassador lets out a girly scream, and he runs away as fast as his legs can carry him, outside of the fighting area.
Did you think that you could hide from me forever, Half-Lasathi?
Tyrath says,
You should have realized that You should have realized that I would be able to track down your smell as soon as you'd get out of your underground hole. All that you've managed to do is prolong the inevitable.
Hey, Tyrath, we hear Araka's voice coming from our left. Long time no see. Remember me? It's your old friend Araka. Flower is now jumping down from the spectator seats using fire jets coming from her feet to slow down her fall. She then comes running to join the rest of us in the center of the arena.
Araka,
Tyrath says, taking his eyes off me to look towards her amulet. Is it just me, or did you get a new look? Araka asks the dragon. What happened to your scales made of molten lava? Where is that intimidating fiery aura that you used to have? Wait, is it because you got older? So much for being all powerful, huh? I bet you really must hate yourself for having to become such a weakling. I can't do fake laughter, so we've decided that this is a good alternative for her character.
how did you break the seal?
Tyrath asks her. You mean the seal from the cave? Araka asks. Seriously, you never even found out that I escaped? How did you even manage to miss the still winter? Were you hibernating or something? Boy, do I have some stories to tell you.
The seal,
Tyrath says again.
How did you break it?
Oh, that old thing had already started to crack after the first 1,000 years or so, Araka says. As soon as there were enough cracks in it, all I had to do was wait for someone to enter the cave and BAM! I took over his body. Or at least I tried to. We ended up having to share it eventually. But seriously though, what did you think would happen? You had to ally yourself with all of those Lasathian mages just to stand a chance against me. And you thought that your half-assed seal would hold me there forever? Don't make me laugh. The only reason why you even managed to beat me was because I'd only just gotten myself banned from the magical plane, and I didn't even really know the ins and outs of the world at that time. If we had a rematch now, I'd obliterate you.
You would obliterate me from inside your amulet.
Tyrath says, "Hey, you could break this amulet for me and we could always have that rematch right now, if you want," Araka says.
You can stay in there and rot,
Tyrath says.
I didn't come here for you. I came here to get revenge.
And to prove to an insignificant insect
just how hopeless it is to oppose me.
Wait, are you talking about me? Didn't you lose the last time, though? Now is your guys' chance. Alright, so which one? You're counteracting yourself. One? Okay. Wait, are you talking about me?
Yes, I'm talking about you, you miserable wretch.
Tyrath shouts.
Now stop talking and activate your magical stats again so I can prove to you how weak you truly are.
You see, I told the dragon, the thing is that I can't really activate those stats anymore.
So you refuse to fight me at your full power then?
Tyrath says. No, you don't understand, I say. I'm saying that I really can't use those stats right now. Couldn't you come back later after I've learned how to activate them?
If you are not planning to activate the stats,
the dragon says,
then I'm going to start by slowly murdering all of your friends, one by one, until you've finally come to your senses. And once I'm done with you, I will destroy this entire city, and then I will burn all the other human settlements from this continent to the ground. I will do today what I should have done 10,000 years ago. Your race was never meant to get out of the caves.
Immediately after he finishes his speech, a very large explosion envelops the dragon, and then a few smaller explosions start to fill the area around him. Flower, who is now high up in the sky, some 200 feet away from the dragon, makes a victory gesture with her right fist as soon as she sees the explosions. "Nice job distracting him, Very," Flower says as she gives me a thumbs up while floating in the sky, with the aid of the fire jets coming from her feet. "Watch out!" I shout at her. "The dragon is immune to fire." "Even if he is immune to fire," Luna says, "the impact from the explosions is still going to leave a mark." "Well, you heard her," Flower says with a smirk. "One more fireball coming up." The girl then creates a spinning ball of fire between her hands, and she sends it flying towards the dragon, making it explode on impact. "So this is the dragon that you guys were talking about," Hadrick says with half a grin and with a look of both excitement and apprehension in his eyes. "Let's see what he's made of then." Hadrick then turns into a giant eagle, and he soars into the sky towards the dragon. Flower makes sure to stop her fireballs when she sees him, and as soon as Hadrick positions himself above Tyrath, he turns back into his usual dwarf form, making a dive towards the dragon and punching him in the back. Hadrick's punch was so strong that we heard it from all the way down all the way down here. And it sent the dragon flying a dozen feet towards the ground. The dwarf then turns back into an eagle, and he flies away, waiting to see what his opponent will do next. I need to end. I thought this chapter was almost over. The dragon looks furious. It seems that he's planning to go all out. It seems that he's planning to go all out from the start, this time around. Before Flower gets the chance to cast a new fireball, the dragon disappears from where he was previously, and he reappears right in front of her, slashing at her with his claws. Flower reacts immediately, and she uses a jet of fire from her left hand to push her to the side and out of the dragon's reach. Tyrath wastes no time, and he teleports again right behind Flower. This time it is Aluna who quickly turns around, and she uses 2 water jets from her hands to attack the dragon and also to push herself away from him. At the same time. While the girl and the dragon repeat the same motions a few more times, Kate is preparing a very large cone of ice in the air above her, getting ready to send it flying towards Tyrath. Kate, this isn't going to work, Darren tells her as he sees her preparing her ice cone. Don't you remember how things went the last time we fought him? Your ice cones didn't affect him at all. If you could use one of your ice platforms to fly me all the way into the sky, then maybe I could hurt him with my sword. This won't be like last time, Kate says, with a determined look on her face. Now that I know the full extent of my enemy's power, I no longer have the luxury of worrying about conserving my magical energy. This time, I am going to fight him with all I've got, even if I end up fainting from exhaustion. Damn it, listen to me, Darren says, but Kate ignores him and she surrounds herself in a cage made of ice that she then uses to lift herself into the sky so that she can get a better view of her target. The cone of ice that she's creating is definitely looking a lot different. The cone of ice that she is creating is definitely looking a lot different from anything that she's ever made before. It looks as sharp and as durable as elven steel, and it is simply radiating magical energy. It feels like the whole area around it is trembling from the magical power that is being pumped into that one ice cone. And once the creation process is complete, the cone starts to turn by itself, following the dragon's movements. After Tyrath teleports a few more times in order to attack Flower, Hadrick finally catches up to him in his eagle form, and he turns into a dwarf once more, punching him right in the face. While the dragon gets briefly stunned by the dwarf's attack, Kate uses the opportunity to launch her ice cone at her target. There is an extremely powerful explosion in the air. I have a fire sound going, like fireplace sound going on in the background. Welcome in, Ryan. Because, being read to in front of a fireplace. While the dragon gets briefly stunned by the dwarf's attack, Kate uses the opportunity to launch her ice cone at her target. There is an extremely powerful explosion of air behind the ice cone as it gets sent straight into the dragon's chest at an incredible speed. Ryan, thank you for being here. The icicle penetrates Tyrath's tough hide, and he lets out a very loud roar, which almost makes everyone lose their consciousness, even while they are desperately trying to cover their ears. The dragon then yanks the ice cone out of his chest, and out of his chest with his claw, and he teleports right next to Kate, who is now barely even able to stand on her feet inside her floating ice cage, due to the dragon's roar from before. Just as the dragon is about to burn her alive with his fire breath, a golden cage appears out of nowhere, trapping him inside. This does not stop Tyreth from breathing his fire, but somehow none of the flames manage to pass through the cage's bars, and they eventually die out by themselves. This is a choose-your-own-adventure story game, text-based choose-your-own-adventure story game called Magium. Sometimes I end my streams by reading out loud from it. It's free, it's on both Android and iOS, it's an app. I highly recommend it if you don't want to play it for yourself, but you do want to know what's going on in the story. There is all of my previous readings in a Magium playlist.
The fox's cage,
Tyreth says. He then turns around, looking straight at Aluna.
Is this your doing? He
asks her. I've had enough of your annoying teleporting, Aluna says. You are going to stay put for the next few minutes. Do you understand?
How exactly is this going to help you in any way? Tyreth says. I may not be able to attack you from inside here, but neither can you. All you are doing is wasting time.
Not exactly, Aluna says. Flower then starts to move around the dragon's cage with her fire jets, creating balls of fire with her hands, and then leaving them floating one by one all around the cage. I'd like to see you handle all of these at once, King of Dragons, Flower says with a smirk. The dragon scoffs and he begins to cast a series of protection spells on himself, getting prepared for the moment when the cage disappears. Kate is also now creating as many of her newly designed ice cones as she can, although judging by the expression on her face, the process is definitely wearing her out much faster than her usual means of casting magic. I don't know if she can keep this up much longer. Damn it! There has to be something I could do in this situation. Maybe I can find a way to get up there somehow. I mean, I do my best. My voice doesn't have a lot of range, so I can't change my voice for every character, and honestly, I'm not very good at being consistent. But I do my best to make it so you can tell who's speaking at the very least. As I look around, I see to my surprise that the empty spectator area is now slowly being filled with hundreds of persons dressed in guard uniforms, and many of them are holding some very peculiar weapons in their hands. In the meantime, some other people are pushing several flying machines into the arena's fighting area. The machines look similar to the flying contraptions built by gnomes, but with a large propeller on top, a long tail. The flying machines look similar to the flying contraptions built by gnomes, with a large propeller on top, a long tail in the back, and two wings that help with gliding through the air. The propeller is usually powered by a spell cast by an air elementalist, but aside from that, there is no further need for magic in order to help these machines fly. I used to know a gnome a few years ago who would keep making me do flight tests of his prototypes in exchange for information I needed about mages. I remember one of these prototypes being so bad that the propeller actually stopped working while I was in mid-flight, and I had to glide all the way down. I still have nightmares about some of those flights, even to this day. One of the people that pushed the flying contraptions into the arena is now having an argument with the gnome. Not very far from our position. As I look closer, I realize that the gnome is none other than King Golmick. What do you mean the pilots and gunners aren't here yet? Golmick says. I specifically asked for 3 pilots and gunners to be ready and waiting in case the manticores went berserk. Where are they now? I apologize, Your Highness, the man who helped push the machinery. The manticores were all killed in the first round, so the pilots and gunners went out for a drink. I tried to contact them through their transceivers, but they wouldn't answer. Damnations, Golmick says. I'd pilot one of these myself, but I need someone to man the guns. He then turns towards us. You there, gladiators, he says. You're all in the army now, am I correct? Do any of you have any experience piloting aircrafts? Or are you at least any good at aiming from a moving vehicle? I could use some help here. Offer to pilot the aircraft, offer to man the guns. Alright, if someone wants to make a decision, now is your chance. Otherwise, I will make a decision for us in about a minute. I think stats do affect one of the choices. If you want to. A lot of people just like sleeping or relaxing, and that's totally fine, but if people do want to participate, I will go with whatever the majority of the chat says in about a minute. Both of you picked guns. I can't say that I've used guns from an aircraft before, but I could give it a try, I say. Splendid, Golmick says. Come over here, Barry, was it? I'll teach you the basics. I'll go help the soldiers, Darren says. They'll need all the protection they can get if they're planning to start shooting at the dragon. He then rushes towards one of the gates in order to reach the upper levels, where the soldiers are currently located. Now, Barry, listen closely, Golmick says, once I reach him. This right here is the main gun you'll be using. He points towards a small turret that is located at the base of the machine's tail. You can turn this to left and right by using these handles, Golmick says. You can also pull on the same handles to turn the turrets up and down. The trigger is over here. The mechanism is somewhat similar to the regular cannons that are being used on ships, except that this turret magically loads itself with bullets and black powder, so you only need to worry about aiming and shooting. Do try to use these bullets sparingly, though. Our ammunition is not unlimited. I say. I may be stating the obvious here, but you do realize that normal bullets will not work on this dragon, right? Of course, Golmick says. That's why we won't be using regular bullets. The bullets that I've loaded into this turret are made up of a metal that is highly resistant to acid. And they have all been coated with acid, which we know for a fact that the dragon is weak against. We've had these prepared for a while, since Tyreth has been a looming threat for quite some time now. Obviously, even with the acid coating, the bullets will likely only moderately inconvenience him, but that's fine because they are only meant as a distraction. The gnome looks at looks up at the dragon trapped in the golden cage with a thoughtful expression on his face. Barry, Golmek says, you wouldn't happen to know how much longer that cage is going to last, would you? I say. About 2 more minutes, I guess? Good, Golmek says. We have plenty of time. Hop in. I'll give you the rest of the instructions during our flight. Make sure to strap yourself in tight. Also, you should wear these goggles. Golmek gives me a pair of protective goggles, which I immediately put on, and then I enter the cockpit, strapping myself in. There are only 2 chairs in the cockpit, one for the gunner and one for the pilot, back to back. The gnome enters the cockpit as well, seating himself on the chair behind me, and then putting on his straps. As soon as the 2 of us are ready to take off, the gnome signals an air elementalist nearby and casts a spell on the machine's propeller in order to make it rotate. The gnome pulls on a lever to his left in order to increase the pitch for the rotor blades, and the flying machine begins to slowly gain altitude. So, you were saying before that the bullets are only a distraction, I say rather loudly in order to compensate for the sound of the propeller. What did you mean by that? Oh, the real purpose of this machine was not to shoot down the dragon, Golmek says. What we are in fact aiming to do is to manage to place ourselves above him and to drop a spinning rope on him. A spinning rope? I ask him, confused. Yes, the gnome says. Our enchanters designed a magical rope that is made to unfurl itself and then to start spinning once it gets dropped from our small cargo hold below. The rope has been enchanted to be nearly unbreakable and is long enough to tie down the dragon's wings in order to prevent him from flying. The only problem is that the dragon will need to hover in one place for quite a while and not be paying attention to us in order for the setup to work. We can't do it after the cage has been dismissed because there will be too many explosions and the dragon will try to get away from there as soon as possible. We only have 1 cargo hold and only 1 rope, so we can't afford to miss our chance. We shouldn't use it unless we are absolutely certain that our plan will succeed. Until then, we'll only be using bullets to attack him in order to provide assistance to your friends and my soldiers that will be attacking the dragon at the same time. And what if the dragon starts breathing fire at us? I say. This aircraft is using Lasathi technology, Golmek says, to provide us with some rather effective shielding against fire attacks. Of course, this does not make us invulnerable, and I'm not sure how long the shield can hold against flames that are as hot as the dragon's, so we should try evading his fire breath as much as possible. As we reach a high enough level of altitude, the golden cage surrounding the dragon is slowly starting to fade. Get ready, the gnome says. As soon as the cage disappears, all of flowers, fireballs explode at the same time, sending a very powerful gust of wind towards us, and Kate's ice cones also get launched into the dragon soon afterwards. The protections that Tyreth cast on himself during this time help him to survive the damage, but it's clear that he didn't get out of that unscathed. What's more, the amount of damage that he needs to absorb with his magical shields also seems to have drained him of his magical energy for the time being, because he is no longer using his teleportation to move around and has gone back to using his wings to fly. Almost as soon as he gets away from all the explosions, the dragon uses his fire breath to attack Kate. He was rather far from her when he attacked, however, which gave Kate enough time to move her ice cage out of the way before the flames reached her. Tyreth now makes an attempt to dive towards her, but before he reaches his target, the king's soldiers activate their strange weapons in unison, and they release a very powerful bolt of lightning that hits him head-on. Visibly upset, the dragon begins to rain down flames upon them, trying to dispose of them all at once. Luckily, Darren had already reached the spectator area a while ago, and as soon as he sees the flames, he uses his shield to create a large semi-transparent barrier which defends all of the soldiers from the fire attack. It's making you sleepy? Well, that is sort of the point of this, to help people sleep. So, sorry, but also good. I think I'm finally starting to understand how the dragon's fire breathing works. It seems that he needs to inhale a great deal of air in his lungs before he attacks, and he also never exhales the fire right away afterwards. I'm guessing that this is because he first needs to ignite the fire before breathing it out. This means that as long as you pay attention to his breathing, you should be able to tell when he'll attack you with fire, and you'll have all the time you need to dodge his flames, if you are fast enough. Hey, I tell Golmick, I think I just found out one of the dragon's weaknesses. He always needs to inhale a lot of air in his lungs before he can use a fire attack. He also needs to wait a second or two for the fire to ignite before he can breathe it out. As long as you pay attention to his breathing, you should be able to anticipate when he's going to shoot fire at you. Nice catch, Golmick says. I will need to keep that in mind while I pilot the aircraft. Oh, I was supposed to be yelling over the propeller for them. Whatever. Tyreth seems to change his mind again, and he is now chasing after Hadric, who is currently in his eagle form. Even with Hadric's speed, it seems like the dragon is going to catch up to him. Maybe now would be a good time to make use of those acid-coated bullets? Attack the dragon, wait for a better moment to attack. I've made the decision that if we die, that's it. So, attack the dragon or wait for a better moment. Choice is yours. I'll give y'all about a minute. This chapter has lasted a very long time after the achievements. I would have just called it if I'd realized how much longer the chapter was, but I feel kind of committed now. Although, I've been live for 6.5 hours now, and I've been recording Magium for 2 hours and 21 minutes, so I'm only willing to do this for so much longer. My throat hurts. Looks like Sin said 1 and Ryan said 2. We need a tiebreaker, one of you guys to change. Or I could like flip a coin or something. No, I wanna finish the chapter. It bothers me to just end in the middle of it. I don't have to wake up early tomorrow, so I'm fine with going a little bit later. Okay, we're switching to 1. Attack the dragon. Uh-oh. Well, there we are. Combat technique failed, level 2. I'm going to attack Tyrath, I tell Golmik. Get ready! Understood, Golmik says, as he grabs the control stick firmly in his hands. I start aiming the turret by the handles, attempting to target the dragon's wings. Once I feel that I've got a clear shot at him, I press the trigger, and I shoot about 6 bullets towards my target. Shooting a moving target with a mounted turret proves to be a little more difficult than I thought, and I end up completely missing half my shots while the other half hit the dragon in the chest instead of his wings. Tyrath screams in pain, and then he flies out of the way in order to avoid being hit by more bullets. Before heading towards us, the dragon inhales a lot of air into his chest, preparing to breathe his fire at us. Golmik anticipates his attack, and he quickly pushes the control stick forward to make us dive down in order to evade the incoming flames. The fire breath misses us by a fair margin, but the dragon is already on our tail, and he is gaining on us. I attempt to shoot him again, but Tyrath adeptly dodges most of my bullets while in midair by paying attention to the way I move the turret. Only a few of the acid-coated bullets hit him, and they don't seem to do much damage. Can't this thing go any faster? I ask Golmik. I'm afraid not, Golmik says. I'll try to shake him off. Golmik pulls on the control stick as hard as he can, and the plane quickly changes its direction. This does not fool the dragon, however, who immediately matches our trajectory without falling behind. When he reaches us, Tyrath dives directly towards our cockpit, and he grabs me in his hind claws, crushing me between them and killing me on the spot. Okay, well, that's all. Transfer achievements. Transfer. Actually, I don't know why I'd bother doing that. Okay. Okay. So, if there's anyone that would like to, first of all, this is a free app that you can download for both Android and iOS. So if you would like to play this for yourself, feel free. It's really good. I highly recommend it. If you don't want to do that, but you do want to know how this battle ended, all of my previous readings are in a Magium playlist on YouTube. You can just look up, first, you could listen to all of them in order, or you could look up Book 2, Chapter 5, because that is when this battle took place. So you could just skip right to this battle and listen to it literally right now after I end my stream, and that'll work out fine. Besides that, it is yeah, okay, actually I'm gonna end the recording now.